Good. Call the October 26th Millwood Planning Commission meeting to order. First order of business is roll call. And Bridget, I'm gonna let you do this.
Alright, Commissioner Ink,
Here.
Commissioner Rickard, Commissioner Molitor,
Here.
Commissioner Beasy,
Here.
Commissioner Karina. Present. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So we do have a quorum, so we can make some decisions. So the first thing up on the agenda is approval of the meeting agenda. I don't see a need to make any changes to it. Is everybody good with that?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
We have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next up is approval of the meeting minutes from the July 29, 26 meeting. And I'm gonna ask that, hopefully you guys have reviewed the minutes. So you're not recusing yourself because you weren't here, because if you do that, we don't have a quorum.
I was wondering about that.
So, but if you've reviewed the minutes,
Well, based on past performance of staff and fellow commissioners, I think I can trust that this is a good representation.
I looked them over, everything looked fine to me, so. So if everybody's okay with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second, just because. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, perfect. All right, so next item up is on the action item list, it's a periodic update and it is a public hearing. And open hearing. Okay, so I'm gonna open the public hearing. Well, let's see, I have to review my notes here again real quick. Okay, so if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to make a comment, will you please sign in? I will ask if any of you planning commissioners has any interest in the proposal or any communications regarding proposal outside the hearing. Is there anyone here that has a conflict of interest?
No.
No? Is there anyone present in the audience that has a conflict of interest or thinks the planning commission has a conflict of interest? No, good, so that brings us to the staff presentation. Amanda.
So everybody received my staff report, and attached to the staff report are all the most current sections. There were very little modifications since the June 26th version, I believe it was. And the modification we did have was concerning the critical areas ordinance based on comments. Okay, next page. So this is all gonna look really familiar. We have to do the update as part of the Growth Management Act every 10 years. We have completed the comprehensive plan portion, as you know, and tonight's public hearing is on the development regulations. The development regulations must be consistent with the comp plan, consistent with the countywide planning policies, with Washington state law, and must implement the adopted comp plan for our accommodated urban growth that's projected to occur within the next 20 years, as well as the city's housing allocation. We have done that. And the city of Millwood completed the periodic update checklist for cities, as well as reviewing for the tier 3 requirements, so all that was checked off. The periodic update process for the development regulations followed the city of Millwood periodic update public participation plan and the work plan that were adopted by the city council in August of '24. So we're now 2 years later and everything. And we did make some administrative adjustments and modifications to complete the task and keep everything on making substantial progress. Extensive public participation opportunities were provided consistent with these plans, including meeting the SEPA and 60-day review requirements. And all the public participation opportunities and information was included in the staff report. consistent with guidance from Department of Commerce, and following the Mercer Island decision, the city council did review Millwood's proposed regulatory and financial incentives for housing in June and provided direction, and those have now been advertised as, on the website as requested. And, that was, let's see. Yeah, they were advertised. The review process for the Millwood's periodic update on the development regulations complies with the municipal code as applicable and state law. So the new, or the draft development regulations are consistent with the countywide planning policies as currently adopted. Millwood's adopted comprehensive plan through ordinance 558 and 551, of course. As well as being internally consistent and consistent with the GMA requirements, including updating the ADU standards, meeting the Tier 3 city guidance, the local project review requirements, and the critical area update requirements. So to meet the 2026 periodic update requirements for fully planning jurisdictions as applicable, the city of Millwood has accomplished that. And the Planning Commission public hearing packet version, August 6, 2026, of the draft development regulation updates contains the June 26 version with SEPA and agency 60-day review comments through August 5th that were incorporated into the CAO dated 7/20/26. We just had one more set of comments that came in after that, and I will go over those as part of the presentation. All right, so this public hearing was properly advertised, as was the SEPA review. We actually did a long advertisement to make sure everybody knew since it was summer. And then attachment exhibit 2 outlines all the sections that have been included as part of the staff report and are all the current sections minus the one suggested modification. Okay. All right. So the 60-day review completed yesterday, end of day yesterday. We received one comment that was not included in the staff report. It was from the Washington State Department of Health Office of Drinking Water and Wellhead Protection. And they went through just the critical areas ordinance as far as the general section and the CARA section. So their comments did not look at the entire code. So when I went through, there were some things that they said, oh, this could be removed, et cetera, et cetera. Really, they couldn't because they were cross-referenced somewhere else. So what ended up being proposed for update that I included was section 1808-020, the definitions, to add some language to qualified geologist. And then 1808-075 specifically for CARAs, with the modifications based on, since the entire city is within a CARA. It looked like we had kind of carried over the Spokane County, Liberty Lake had similar language all in that section. Well, they made some suggestions on how we could have a little more streamlined approach. So that's what I included in. And then the one thing I definitely didn't include was because it was cross-referenced in another section of the CAO, was they suggested removing Appendix A because it wasn't needed since the whole city was in a CARA, but the Appendix A was for the whole critical areas ordinance and it was needed for a separate section. So we can go over these modifications. There is a handout that's been provided to you tonight that says option 2 proposed modifications for your recommendation. So, once everybody gets there. We ready? Okay. So for qualified geologist, language was added to the end that basically reinforced specialty license in hydrogeology. So that was a simple addition.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Going through this, there was a description of qualified geologist. Is that different? Is this different than?
We just added to the end of the definition, that was it,
Oh, okay.
to specifically address CARAs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then under the CARA section specifically, we keep calling everything CARA, so I actually added that acronym after it so that
Thank
it
you.
could be utilized. And under A1, basically, we went back and defined CARA again. We didn't need to because there was already a definition in there. So that was referenced along with the correction on the WAC. It was actually 3, not 2. Any questions on page 1? Okay. Page 2, there was a note added under number 3. Currently, the entire city limits is overlain, and this is their language, overlain by wellhead protection areas associated with multiple Group A public water systems. So basically, we have water systems everywhere that affect the wellhead protection, and so, but we're already entirely a CARA. So I made that note in there. I capitalized Rathdrum. We didn't catch that the first time. And then under B, they had noticed a lot of more agricultural uses under the table. And so I cross-referenced the uses identified in table 17.1, which is of course our table of permitted uses, that are similar to uses below as determined by the planning director shall be classified the same as the use below for CARA regulations. So just a cross-reference there to make sure we're fully covered. And then they suggested simplifying this table, since we are entirely a high susceptibility rating within the city of Millwood. And so what I did was, since we updated the agricultural and animal keeping standards, I made that one category and removed duplication, that all were L1. I removed anything that really we don't have, dairies, anything that are that kind of agriculture. And then added the wording under sanitary waste discharge. They brought up like breweries and distilleries, how they can have some additional production waste going through the wastewater. And so I added and production wastewater, just to make sure we close anything
Doesn't the
there.
mill have production wastewater?
Probably, yeah.
I
They
mean, that's
just
what
brought
their
up a brewery
pools are, I
example.
think.
Yeah. And so those were the revisions, and then after that, we did not need the index because everything was already referenced under C. So we removed the index portion. Any questions on page 2? Okay. On to 3. Under the performance standards, I just made sure when we had them listed that they now matched what was in the table. So I carried the additional language for agriculture. That was pretty simple. Any questions on page 3? Page 4. This was not something they specifically referenced, but I noticed some of the other codes. I looked specifically back at what I wrote in Liberty Lake, and I noticed we didn't have a reference to our building code regulations. We only had the Spokane County code for the critical materials. So I said, and adopted building code regulations, again, to close any loop there. Down under 3A5, just a cross-reference, wastewater disposal shall comply with the Millwood Municipal Code as amended, including Title 13, which is specifically the public works standards for wastewater disposal, et cetera, et cetera. Any questions on page 4?
I've got just a question. Bobby brought up the mill. Who monitors the wastewater disposal? Is that a government job or is that a Millwood
I think the
Yeah.
state has a lot to do with
Department of Ecology.
especially what can be put into the river for one
Yeah.
thing.
Yes.
What treatment needs
Right.
to happen before anything
Yeah.
can go in.
Okay, I just didn't know whose responsibility that was then to monitor, but the state, I think you're right, Department of Ecology, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Any other questions on page 4? And that perfectly segues into page 5, the very last one, was they commented that there's multiple types of injection wells. This, of course, is referring just to this, like dry well type. So I added or dry wells, and then I also added, again, to close a full loop, that best management practices identified by the Washington State Department of Ecology, DOE, must also be utilized.
good job, Amanda.
They actually had some really good comments on things I hadn't thought about on that. Unfortunately, I could not pull a hard copy because they did them as pull-out bubbles on a PDF. And so if you want them, you're more than welcome to them. But that's why I didn't have a hard copy in front of you. Next, this, yep. So, no other comments were received. We didn't even get a final letter from Department of Commerce. I was very surprised. So, and I went even back and checked their website today. So, just waiting, I guess, on our ordinance and stuff. So the next steps are, I anticipate, or hopefully, Planning Commission will prepare a recommendation tonight that will be able to be taken to City Council on September 8th for their public hearing and ordinance first reading. Their public hearing and ordinance second reading with potential adoption and reading of the first reading of the resolution, which what that is saying we are completely done with the periodic update and closes any appeal portion. That's planned for October 13th. And then unless they move to do a first, second combo of the resolution on October 13th, the resolution completing the periodic update would be read on November 10th. And it is done. Next.
That's an important date.
It is. So I could go over any questions or comments, and then I'll go ahead and have Bridget go to the next slide, because there may be questions. There we go. So as far as draft recommendations, per Millwood Municipal Code, I've prepared option 1, option 2, or option 3. If you so choose to go with option 2, which I would be my suggestion, would be incorporating the Department of Health wording that I just wrote up today. So, any questions?
I do have a question, and this would be regarding the last month's meeting regarding setbacks that I was not present at for that 5-foot single-story
Okay.
side setback.
Okay, time out. Okay, we're not in that discussion mode.
Okay.
We're in this mode. Okay, that, what you're talking about would be like a commissioner comment type thing?
Oh, are you just looking for clarification on what was discussed at last meeting?
Yes.
Because right now we're in a public hearing,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, setbacks I don't think have anything to do with.
Well, it's part of the entire code adoption.
It's in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it is in there.
Okay, so, okay, then go ahead.
Okay, so yes, my question is that 5-foot, that minimum, is that a state requirement, or where did that minimum come from?
So 5 foot is what is currently the minimum in the code. It was also consistent with the tier 3 city some requirements, some recommendations, but that's what they listed as a 5 foot. We discussed, and I believe council member I just blanked it. Stravens, thank you. Had asked us to look at increasing that to a 7.5. We also received a comment / question from a citizen about actually reducing it to 0 adjacent to alleys. So Commissioners Molitor, Rickard, and Agney discussed it and actually made a vote to leave it as is, how it's currently written at the 5 foot.
Okay, and that is how it's been for,
As far back as I could see in the code. And that's for single story, it increases with story and a half and 2 story.
right? So I have heard feedback from residents of Millwood that they would prefer an increase to that. If there's not a state minimum of 5 feet, that they would prefer, longer setback, larger setback.
The state minimum's actually 0
Mhm.
with appropriate building regulation. The standard for tier 3 is a 5 foot.
Okay, and then it would go from 1.5 story, like you were saying.
Yeah, it goes,
So, yeah, 1.5 is
do you remember what page
more,
that
right?
is?
And then I
It is.
think we've got stories defined by heights.
Yeah, we do have stories defined now by height. Chapter 1742
I think 1.5 is 7.
I think it is, but I don't wanna misquote. Henry, getting closer. You are too. Table of permitted uses, okay. We're really close. Okay, here we go. In residential zones, 1 story up to 20 feet tall is 5 foot. 1.5 story up to 28 feet tall is 10 foot. And 2 story up to 35 foot tall is 15 foot.
Okay.
And then flanking street is 15 as well.
Okay, because with 5 feet, so the reason I brought this up is because the more room we have, then it also helps with aquifer recharge and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what was the state requiring?
Yes,
Okay.
and we also maintained the lot coverage provisions, which were the maximum the state allowed.
Okay,
The, given our new way of doing things where we don't have a minimum lot size, we're kind of asking setbacks to do double duty
Mhm.
because they're partially defining our minimum lot size too.
Yeah.
So this is something ongoing we might keep in mind.
And in instances like Magnolia Village, which is proposed over on Empire, because it has the street that comes off of Empire, and then the houses wrap around it and face that. In that case, what would normally be a side setback is actually a rear setback. So it's set back from the adjacent UR1 homes 20 or 25 feet.
okay.
And so any infill might be that situation as well, where it's actually gonna be a rear setback adjacent to existing development.
Yeah, Amanda put together some pictures of homes that show the setbacks and the size. And it, I mean, from a visual standpoint, it really helped me rather than just talking about the numbers. Because you got 5 on this side and 5 on this side, and you get, then all of a sudden you got a little bit more wiggle room, if you want to call it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think that with increasing development and infill, I think that it's important to know what our options are. And so is that something that it could be flexible with in the future, or is it just we will adopt this and that's
This is what's adopted, you can always go back and change it later unless it's inconsistent with state law. I don't foresee the regulations at the state level getting any less restricted. How do I word this? They want to promote infill housing. They do not want large lots with tiny homes and huge yards. That's not the direction. And so, we still have to comply with what tier 3 is now and then into the future. If it got more restrictive, hopefully it won't get more restrictive than what we already have in here.
And I think that as a city, we wouldn't want to and residents of Millwood wouldn't want to have the flip side of that where it's too much infill and we're tight.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that as we've changed a lot of things, we've gotten rid of the lot minimum. We've changed our definition of front and rear. There's a lot of new moving pieces we're putting in. This is something we might want to keep an eye on over the next several years and see how it's working out. And, maybe we'll want to revisit setbacks or something.
I would agree with that. Okay,
Answer your question?
Yes, and I do have one
Yep,
other
go ahead.
question for definitions. I noticed that in Title 16, the definition for the planning commission was removed, but I wanted to confirm that was removed because it would be repetitive and it was already in another title.
Appendix A.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, or somewhere in the municipal code. Yeah, I can't remember exactly where, because
Not
there's a
doing
whole
away
section
with
on
this.
planning.
Yes, just wanted to make sure, confirm that.
Yeah, thank you.
good, okay. Any questions for Amanda on the presentation? Okay, so the staff presented, staff is also the applicant, right?
Oh, city's the applicant.
City's the
I
applicant.
guess I'm representing the city.
So, okay, so with that in mind, I just have to ask because it's part of the budget.
Yeah.
Do you have a presentation? Does the applicant have a presentation?
It's so completed.
Okay, so is there any public testimony?
Public's not paying attention.
Yes, you're not paying attention. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's no. So, and let's see, so any final questions from the planning commission? So I am going to now close the public hearing and ask the planning commission for deliberation.
You wanna leave,
Okay.
Joe?
I think what Amanda's put together on this whole thing has been great. We've beat this thing up for 2 years. I think we're ready to send it off. Okay, that's me personally. Bobby, I don't like that smile, so, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Nothing that's gonna change what happens tonight. I have concerns about what the state is requiring of us. I have concerns that we took this much and expanded it to this much, which makes it, and a lot of the this much also refers you somewhere else. So if you're somewhere, someone who's just bought a property and wants to know what you can do with it, it's quite a challenge now.
Yes.
It used to be a lot less of a challenge. You could read the whole code and have a pretty good idea. And now that's just not as doable. You know, these may be unavoidable trends, but I'm a little uncomfortable about them.
It is consistent though, I double checked that.
Yeah. I think we've done a fair job of trying to adjust what the state's requiring for us within our legal abilities. We may wanna live with it a while and see if there's any other little tweaks we can do. You know, I think given what we were given, it's a reasonable product. And yeah, kudos to Amanda because it is consistent.
Kudos
There-
to you all.
There is a lot of details, they are consistent, you've done a good job listening to us and doing what you could for us, and so.
Commissioner Karina?
Yes, thank you, Amanda. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to join the planning commission in the midst of the comprehensive plan and to absorb all this information and to have discussions and ways to comply with regulations and codes, but also work on keeping Millwood and have things done the right way and right by our fair city. And so, thank you.
Jay?
Just kind of along the lines that Bobby, in going through this, you know, we have been directed to expand, make more housing available. And if you read through this, it's like it's just the opposite. We're making it more difficult to do what we really want to do as far as building additional homes and for our population. So you've done an amazing job. Trying to keep up with all of this has been unbelievable, but I guess that's kind of how I feel. It's kind of like what Bobby said, we started with something like this and now we've got something like this. And if I were a developer or somebody trying to develop some property or buy a home in Millwood, it would be a real challenge to make sure you address every one of these items.
So just know that we're not the only one that has this. Developers know about this
Yeah,
because it's everywhere.
okay,
And they also know that every city has got their own little quirks.
okay.
And, but like Amanda said, it's consistent.
Yeah,
On the flip side, you know what? In 10 years, Commissioner Crane is gonna be able to go through it again. So you got that to look forward to.
There you go.
It might be a little bit intimidating too, because I did it as one package to make sure we maintain consistency. If you actually go through the municipal code from Title 15 through portions of 18, I don't think we gained too many pages.
okay. It's intimidating.
Yeah, when you see it as a whole, yes.
Okay, if nobody else has got any other comments, we have been asked to make a recommendation. Amanda's been so kind to give us the draft recommendations. So, I would open it up to, well, I'll be honest with you, I don't think option 3 is appropriate, which is a denial. So I don't even think we need to consider that one, so it's 1 or 2. And I think based on what Amanda presented with comments from, who was it from?
Department of Health Division.
From the Department of Health, that option 2 would be the way to go, but I'm open to what you guys think.
Yeah, I think not taking into consideration comments from the Department of Health would not be well, yeah, that'd be pretty tough to defend.
So are we, with that in mind, I will entertain a motion to approve to recommend that we send the periodic update to City Council for approval with option number 2, which is recommendation of approval with additional modifications as presented in Amanda's presentation.
I think you just did a great job of making the motion.
Making the motion, okay,
Yeah.
do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the matter? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Let's all just take a deep breath.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Good job.
We all know what this took to get to this point.
Good job, Mike.
Okay. So now, do we have any public remarks on anything else but the periodic update?
Kudos to all of you. Kudos.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I was looking for Mr. Beasy, he's usually in the crowd. So-
Farmers Market Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right, okay. Okay, that brings us to the city planner report.
All right, where is that in the packet here? At the very
Oh,
end.
it's the last
Yeah.
pages.
You wouldn't know they made paper clips so big.
And we need it even bigger.
We really tested the binder clips on the top. Okay, so, for July, we had a fence permit approval over on Frederick, a 42-inch tall, chain link front yard fence. On Dalton, we had a fence permit, review and approval for a rear yard 6-foot tan vinyl. And I'm starting to put a little more description on them since, yeah. And then on Dale, we had detached 2-story garage review and has proceeded to approval. On 3019 North Argonne, across the street, we had code enforcement investigation on the siding material, and it progressed to code enforcement with a stop work order. So that is going through. You will have your September meeting, it's on the schedule. He's not the applicant. The contractor has requested utilizing the provision of the C2 zone for an exception to the siding material to allow for the metal siding basically as installed. And so I will be presenting that based on what he supplied for September, right after your open public meeting training, so. And then the data center moratorium did pass through the city council. Last night, they elected to go with the planning commission to council. So we just get done with the periodic update and we're diving into data centers. So October, I'll start providing information on that to you. Completed the various report questionnaires for Valley Fire District, the insurance, et cetera, that we have to do every year. And that's on permit data. We applied for and are in review right now on the PRA grant for Millwood Park redevelopment. We got a few comments back. We'll be getting those addressed and final submittal will be by September 12th, I believe. Let's see, I met with the Washington State Department of Ecology on shoreline permitting and project updates. We have a new contact there. Well, she's new to the position, but she's been a long time with DOE. I've been very familiar with her. And she's gonna be a great resource. Attended the Spokane County FEMA estimated floodplains meeting. There's no changes in Millwood. It completed a newsletter article on the comp plan development regulations amendment process for the mayor. We didn't really change the process on that, but we put out an article with a graphic on how you make requests to change the comp plan or development regulations. And then all the 2026 periodic update stuff that y'all are aware of. And that's it.
Any questions for Amanda? Okay. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Freeman?
No comments?
Commissioner Veazey? Commissioner Jay?
I don't have any additional comments.
Well, thanks, guys. Leave it up to me for comments. Couple things. I guess the first thing is Chris Major, the chair for the Historic Preservation Committee, has contacted me, and Amanda's going to set up a meeting with Chris. And they got a grant back in 2019 to do something with. And COVID delayed all of it, type of thing. Well, it's now come, I don't know what happened, I don't know if I all of a sudden remembered, oh shit, we got this money. So they're looking for some planning commission input on maybe what they can do with it, or for that. So that would probably be a presentation from them to us next month. Okay, but like I said, Amanda's gonna set a meeting up so we can kind of figure out what Chris is actually thinking about. So that's good.
Quick question, doesn't the grant, isn't it fairly specific about what they can use it for?
So the, what was supplied was basically a report from Northwest Vernacular, kind of going over the standards in the municipal code and how the HPC set up, and making some recommendations of some text amendments that we could do via ordinance. And so I'll be reviewing those with her, and then because it's an internal review, it's not a citizen requested, I can add it to the docket, and we'll get it in line to review. So if you remember, for our work plan, the data center jumped to the top of the list. Next in line is gonna be the docketed items that weren't part of the periodic update. And so we can possibly include that as part of that. And then signage was right in there as well.
Okay.
Yep.
So then, I attend the, we call it a public works huddle, where it's the mayor, myself, Councilman Stravens, and then our public works staff once a month, and just something to make you guys aware of. One of the big issues that they are talking about, and especially at the city council level also, is water rates. Okay, and we've kind of been just skating by and not making any money. And okay, that's fine, we're citizens, you know what, the city shouldn't make money on us, but on the flip side, we have to budget for repairs and updates, and where's that money gonna come from? So, you know, I know it's something that nobody wants to talk about. In fact, I believe, I attended the last city council meeting, and without going into great deal, I know that, let's just say there was a very spirited discussion about water rates. And so just to let you know that that's something that's being talked about and bantered about. Other than that, also talked about the Argonne project, and everybody is pretty impressed with how that's going. I mean, it's way more better than what was going on last year.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
And they're not gonna come out and say they're ahead of schedule, because they are. But in the construction industry, all it takes is a piece of equipment to break down or a delay in materials, and that throws it all out. But what I can say is experienced what you guys are experiencing on your side of the street now. And what I can say is once we jumped over to, did that other side of Argonne, what I was experiencing went away. Okay, so it will go away. And so, that was talked about at a couple of those other meetings I went to. So, those are really pretty much the comments I have. Everybody's doing a great job. So I appreciate your guys' service here. So, and, other than that, that's all I have. So our next meeting is September 30th at 6 o'clock, and, it looks like we've got the open government training.
That's about an hour, I was told.
Okay, so,
Exactly what is, that's the one that we've been through before with Brian
Yeah,
and, okay.
and I believe city council will be attending your meeting for that this time.
right, so with
Okay.
that in mind, and I know that Mayor Beasy has also taken the opinion that meetings should be no more than 90 minutes. I'm thinking that the open government training and the citing exception request, I think that's probably gonna be our meeting, you
Okay,
know, just to be honest with you.
Mhm.
I mean, she can throw a couple others on there, but I wouldn't anticipate getting to them. You know,
will
because
they be involved then in the discussion about the citing that's gonna
The
be?
council?
The council?
No, most likely, I would assume they would leave after the government training, is that? Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm just curious, they're
yeah.
certainly welcome, of course.
So, so with that, am I just thinking about that, so, we've done that open government training, that's something we do like every, 3 or 4 years,
Even more often.
even
Yeah,
more
I think
often
so.
than that.
Yeah.
I think it has to do too, as we get new members.
Right, right.
That haven't had it.
Oh, thanks.
Well, we have new
You know,
city
it's-
council
It's actually
members.
pretty interesting,
Oh, is
okay?
tree board coming here too?
And,
Tree board should be
what.
Oh,
what-
okay.
So
what-
you have
What
tree, the
about-
tree, it isn't all
Oh,
like
the
that.
tree board? And I'll be honest with you, so what I like about it, for me, just being selfish personally, I'm the chair of several different committees, so it really helps me to run meetings. So it's kind of interesting, so anyway, cool, well, enough about that, if nobody's got anything else, great job by the staff, Amanda, fellow commissioners, city council members, thank you for being here. And I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I will second your motion.
Motion and seconded, any discussion, hearing none, all in favor say aye,
Aye.
Aye.
all opposed say nay.